Today, I want to talk about reopening, stress, anxiety, depression, all of the overwhelming sensations that are coming in as things are opening up, shifting, and changing in what would seem like the direction we want things to go towards more access to the people and places we want to be going and doing. And why are we getting so freaked? What's going on? I want to talk a bit about how I'm thinking about this and share some tools that might be helpful for you as we are stepping back into our world, this post pandemic world. I'm a little tentative to say that, but it's feeling more and more positive. So, why are we freaking out? Let's dive in. I'm Swift Everdy, and I'm an energy healer and intuitive guide, and I work with individuals and groups on how we can filter and sort and organize around the intensity of being a human, using energy healing as a access point to have more knowing and awareness so we can maybe have a bit more ease, a bit more consciousness in our lives. I use she, her pronouns, and I live on occupied Abenaki and Pennacook land in southern Vermont, which is in the United States. Thanks so much for being here. Please do like this video. It supports me and other people seeing these, getting this in front of people that are in this conflict, that are getting ready to step out into the world and maybe a little bit confused, overwhelmed, stunned by it. So let's get into this today. So I want to talk about three things, actually four, that I've really noticed as things are opening up. And why are we getting so overwhelmed? Why are we upset? Why are we having bouts of depression? What's going on? So the first thing I want to notice is just this is a huge readjustment period. This wasn't just a few weeks of this pandemic, it was an entire year. It was more than a year of this chugging along and trying to figure out how to readjust our lives around this huge dramatic change. And a lot of that actually was done quickly, abruptly last spring, where it was things were like this, and then suddenly, boom, things were completely different. Out of school, out of work, masks, sanitizer, no travel. Everything shifted really dramatically. So just recognizing that we took a lot to get us here. It's going to take us a lot to get to a new place. Now, I'm not saying we're going back. I don't know if we know what normal is like anymore, which is part of this that makes it even more challenging. But recognizing that we are moving towards something and we're going to need to readjust and do the work of that. The second thing that I really want to recognize is that when we have these moments of holding, of clamping down, of especially around safety, all of these habits, all of these norms, all of the readjustment that we've made has been for safety, out of the fear, out of the reality that we are unsafe, that COVID-19 could affect our bodies or the bodies of our beloveds. So there's a real piece here where the habits and the norms that we put in place were around safety. So readjusting those is even more challenging. So when we are really holding into that sacred, safe place of like basic needs, here we go, clamping down, when things get safer and it's safe to readjust, to open, a lot comes out with that. It's not just the like, okay, great, everything's fine, here we go, da 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 da. It's all of those things that we haven't had the time or the space or the energy for, or that we haven't prioritized, come bubbling up as well. We can have conflicts, we can have bouts of overwhelm of all of the things. We may have really put a lot of things on hold, and without recognition even that we put them on hold, and then they don't come barreling back in, and that can come in as big emotions and really intense moments in our lives. So recognizing that that might be what's moving through is really helpful. The third thing that I want to talk about is just recognizing that we don't know. So there's a lot of doubt and anxiety in this because we don't know if everything's super safe right now. It's feeling like it really is. Science is showing us that we can step through these doors. There are vaccinations that are safe and we're moving towards something, but variants are here. Things could change. People aren't choosing to get vaccinated. We don't know what's next. So there's a lot of doubt in this as well. So I really want to work on these tools that I'm going to offer next on how you can come to what's safest and what's true in your awareness and your knowing. The fourth thing I want to talk about in more detail in another video, but just recognizing that this has been traumatic. Just taking a breath there and recognizing that this pandemic has been trauma for everyone. There is not anyone that hasn't experienced trauma because of this. Many have experienced firsthand trauma, primary trauma, where a beloved has passed or they have had COVID, they approached death's door, or something traumatic in their individual life has happened to them that has been traumatic. We've really been in a chronic trauma for the past year plus. So many people have had direct trauma happen to them, or if not direct trauma, we have had secondary or vicarious trauma of being in this container of annihilation, of intensity, of death. Over 500,000 people have passed. This piece of just recognizing that being in this container where the norms have shifted, where the reality of the world has shifted, is traumatic, especially when it has to do with safety and survival. So I want to talk further about that in another video, but just wanted to plant it in here for a moment to recognize that, of course, we're having overwhelm as things are shifting and changing, because we're coming out of this traumatic moment, or hoping to come out of this traumatic moment into something else. Thank you. So I want to talk a bit about tools, ideas. These are fairly simple, but it's just a way to shift our lens. So let's get into it. So the first one is to validate your own emotions and others. None of this is wrong. Show up for what is coming up for you. Create space for it, whether that's finding a friend that you can connect with and talk about it, whether it's finding a therapist or a healer or someone to land in and validate that your emotions you're having, the reactions you're having, the anxiety, depression, overwhelm, whatever it is, joy, it can be joy too, please. This is a joyous time, is valid. This is a dramatic shift, and just really recognizing that you get to have that space. You might have coping skills on hand, knowing that the certain things that really can support you if you do get anxious while things are moving through, really recognizing that you might need a bit more support going through this, or someone in your family might need a bit more support as we're going through this transition. The second is to get curious about the new norms. Get awkward. It's fine. Experiment. Try something that you haven't done in a year and a half, if there's a realm of realizing that it's safe now to do it. And try it out. Experiment. And give yourself the space to say no. So yes, baby steps. Recognize these moments of adjusting to the new norms and do it at your own pace. So be awkward, try things, mess it up, and do things at your own pace. Whether that's really clear boundaries for yourself of here's what I do want to do, here's what I don't want to do, and giving yourself the space to readjust to those boundaries, to recognize, okay, I am gonna only do one thing today instead of before the pandemic, you might have done 4 different things on a Saturday, and that would have been fine. And recognizing, actually, I'm going to go slow. So moving into that last piece of just recognizing that we may need more space in this, and patience. Have space for yourself. Give yourself space. Give yourself patience. Give those around you patience. If you're feeling totally hunky-dory in this transition and not feeling affected, create the space for others and support them in going through this transition. It might not be that way for everyone around you. So just recognizing that we all might need a little patience and a little space as we're going through this readjustment period. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I will be doing a follow-up video on the piece around trauma. There's so much more in there that I want to talk about, and all the grief in this, and just recognizing what we've been through and what we are going through. So thank you so much for watching. Again, please do like, subscribe, click the bell. I'd love to chat with you in the comments if there's anything coming up for you. I'd love to just get to know you. And if you're interested in working more with me individually, I do offer free discovery calls. Please go ahead, down in the description. There's a link. You can book a call with me. And if you're interested just to experiment a bit more with the work I do, there's a free 5-day mini course called Ask Away, and that is also down in the description, using questions to wake up our knowing and awareness and give us a bit more consciousness and connection with ourselves and the world around us. And that's in the description as well. It's great always to be with you. Please let me know. I'd love to hear, how are you moving through this transition? What's up for you? I'd love to hear and can't wait to connect with you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.